In this video, we are reviewing how to convert numbers in scientific notation. So remember that for the format, we have our first number. So our first number right here is called the coefficient, and that number has to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10, so basically between 1 and 10. And then you have times, and then 10 to the exponent, so basically the power of 10. And every time you have numbers in scientific notation, it has to be in this format. So to start, we have a number in scientific notation, and it wants us to write it in standard form. And standard form just means like a normal number. So like if you look here, standard form just means a number that's not in scientific notation. So when we're looking at the exponent tells us how much we're going to move the decimal. So if I have like 10 to the fourth, I know that this means I'm going to move the decimal to the right 4 times. And you could test this in the calculator. You could do 6.1 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and you would see that moves the decimal 4 times to the right. And then like for the second one, I have 7 times 10 to the negative 3. Well, we figured out that when it's a negative exponent, you have to move it to the left. And you'd move it how many ever times that number says. Okay, so starting with the first one, I have 6.1. And I'm moving the decimal to the right 4 times, again, because of that number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I add in my placeholder zeros right here. So then now I have 6, 1, 0, 0, 0. And I know my comma goes after 3 numbers from the left. Sorry, from the right. So this number is 61,000 in standard form. Okay, same idea for the second one. I have 7 times 10 to the negative 3. So on this one, though, 7 doesn't have a decimal. Remember that every number can be written as 7.0. So I could do 10.0, 2.0. Any number, if it doesn't have a decimal, you can just add a 0.0 after it. So again, we said that negative exponent means move to the left 3 times. So I go 1, 2, 3. Again, put in my placeholder zeros. And this is 0.007. And so when you're moving it to the right, when it's a positive exponent, you're making it a really big number. But when you're moving it to the left with a negative exponent, you're going to get a really small decimal. Okay, so what if we're going backwards? What if we have standard form and they want us to write it in scientific notation? So like we said earlier, I know that this number right here has to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. So looking here on this problem, so I have some choices. I could pick 9.2 as my coefficient. I could pick 92. I could pick 0.92. But I know, and obviously I got those just from right here. I put my decimal in different places. I know that this is the one that I have to pick because 92 is just too big, bigger than 10, and 0.92 is less than 1. So I know that 9.2 is the number I'm going to pick for the beginning, for the coefficient. And then I know that the format is times 10 to the something. I would figure out what that exponent is. So the way I figure that out is I put my decimal here, so it's 9.2. And then I figure out that I'm moving the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I moved it to the right 6, so that's positive 6. So you pick your coefficient, and then you figure out how much to move the decimal. Let me do the same thing for the last one. So again, I could pick 51, I could pick 5.1, I could pick 0.51. But again, I know that I have to pick 5.1 because that's the only number that's greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. Okay, so I have 5.1. And then again, what's my coefficient going to be? So I put my decimal right here for 5.1, and then it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember, it's negative 7 because we moved it to the left, just like we did over here. So remember, if it's a positive exponent, it's going to be a really big number. And if it's a negative exponent, then it'll be a really small number like this one.